Hello and welcome to Plus Your Business. Myself and my wife Elisa run a HubSpot agency and we're based in Wales but have clients all over the world. In this particular video we're going to focus on the HubSpot CRM, and then there are other videos which should extend it further that will look at the Marketing Hub, the Sales Hub and the Service Hub, but we'll show a few of the features as we go. Now, the best way I found to describe the CRM is to think of it to start with in terms of these four things. Now, these are called objects, and I'm not going to give you loads of technical details in this, but it will help longer term if we see the CRM in this way. So you have contacts, companies, deals, and tickets. So the first thing is that a contact most often is going to have an email address, a first name, a surname of a particular person. Now, if that person gets in touch with you by your email, for instance, and you have your inbox connected to HubSpot, it will automatically generate not just a contact record, but also a company record if they're using a brand domain, like a company email address, except if they're using a generic email like Gmail or Yahoo or so on. Now, what this means is as more people from the same company get in touch, then they also become attached to that same company object within HubSpot. Next, we've got deals. When you have a deal associated with a particular contact, most often it's going to have a contact, and if you have a company attached to that contact, it's going to have a deal associated with that company as well. So it starts to bring everything together. And the same principle if you have a ticket, which is a service ticket. If a contact has it on their record, it's also going to show up on the company record most of the time. Okay, let's now dive into the platform and I'll show you how all of this fits together. Okay, so we're now looking at HubSpot, and this is the contacts overview page. Now, it's incredibly useful because not only do you have a list of all of the contacts in the system, you can also add filters that will then segment these into lists, and you can then decide what you want to do with those people. But let me just show you what it looks like to have a contact record. So I'm going to begin searching for a person's name, and I'm going to click in and go to their contact record. This is the person's contact record, and you know it's a contact record because you can see there's a little person in the upper left. On the left-hand panel, we have the person's name, email address, and other properties associated with them. In the central panel, we can see the activity. Now, this can be emails back and forth. It can be web pages they visited if the lead came in via the web, what ads they've clicked, and many other things. You can filter the activity here and choose what you want to see, including information from third-party integrations. You've also got a tab for the notes, and you can click to add a note on a record, and you can even mention a team member, and that will send them a message and bring them into that particular record, and you can pin that note. And you can email from the platform, you can make calls, and you can see and set tasks. All of that shows up in that activity section. On the right-hand side, we've got associated companies, we've got the deals, and we've got the tickets, if there are, as well as other factors down there. Let's just dive into the company record. So first off, you know it's a company record because on the left-hand side, you can see it's got a little skyscraper there. Same principle and same structure again is you've got these properties, as they're called. It could be the size of the company, the revenue of the company, and then you've got the activity. Exactly the same structure again with the notes. And you can email from here, you can call, you can make tasks, and also all the activities associated with it. Okay, then on the right-hand panel, you've got something which is called an account overview, which is great for account-based marketing if you have a pro account. But you've got here the contact that was associated with that company. You've also then got the deals and you've got the tickets. So you start to see everything is in one place and easily accessible to see what is going on with a particular company. Now, if I just click in to a deal, and you'll see now this is a page of a particular deal. And you know it's a deal because it's got a little handshake in the upper left, and you can see the stage that the deal is at, and you can also see any other properties associated with that deal. Middle panel, you have the activity, and then the right hand side connected to any contacts and the company. Diving back to the contact record and scrolling down, I'm just going to click in and see the page of a ticket associated with it. And again, got the same principle. There's a ticket on the left hand side as the icon. You have information, the status, for instance, the stage that you're at, and properties associated with that particular ticket on the left hand side, activity in the middle, and then associated contacts, companies, deals on the right hand side. So you can see there's a consistency with how things are. Now let's take this a stage further and start looking at properties. On the contact record, you can decide what you see. Now these things, as they're called, properties, these are contact properties. In fact, all of the records, the companies, the deals, the tickets have their own properties. What you can do is you can click in View All Properties, and you can choose, first of all, which properties you see, unless they've been chosen as default, and you can add in properties. So if I have a look at, for instance, country and region, I can click Add to my view, and that will put it at the bottom, but I could decide if I want to move that up towards the top, which will then display it slightly differently when I look at every contact record. Now this is just a change for me, so I can very much make this my own, and I can decide what the country is, or I can bring that information in automatically on certain occasions. And what this allows is a much more bespoke experience for the user based upon the role that they have. One of the coolest things about HubSpot is how easy it is to create bespoke properties. Now, looking again at the properties at a contact level, if I go to Manage Properties, click on Manage Properties from there, I can create a property very easily, as well as potentially edit a property. Now, this means I can put information that I've got stored elsewhere onto those records, either by importing or through workflow automations, and it means that everything starts to become a lot more granular and a lot more useful within HubSpot for me and my business. But just as we were looking at the contact properties a second ago, we can also do the same thing for company properties. As you'll see, it's all structured in the same way. So if I dive into a company, from the company overview panel, I'll be able to go down and I can see which properties we have on the left hand side, but I can also go into View All Properties and either move them around. I can actually edit them as well, and I can also create new ones. Exactly the same principle if I go into deals. And I'll go into a deal, there we go. So click into a deal, and because it's got the option to go View All Properties down there, and as you will have guessed, just go back, I'll be able to show you on a ticket as well. It's exactly the same principle. The structure of HubSpot makes it so easy for you to be able to, as I say, make it your own. You know, scroll down, you just View All Properties, and you can create new properties. Taking this one stage further, if you look now at the contacts overview page, what we can do here is filter. So click on something like lead status, which is a contact property which has all these different lead statuses. And let's say I want to click on in progress and find out which of the leads are in progress. We've now got a filtered list of around about 100 contacts there. And what I can do is add in another filter, for instance. I'll say, well, I want to know about those that are from a particular country. So I could go country and region and then add an option, Wales, and see if there's anybody in Wales. Apply there, so we see that Emily Steele comes up there because we tagged her with that particular information. Going back to our list of 100 contacts that we've got here, I can actually pin that and return to that each time. And I can select from that list and I could decide to assign it to a particular team member for follow-up, or I could edit contact properties and decide that all those people, the country for instance, they should all be in Wales, or I could delete, don't do that necessarily, but I can also create tasks, which are something we're going to come on to in a minute. Now this just means that you've got a usable list that you can then work if you're a sales team member, or it could be for follow-up for a different reason. And just to stress, the filters that you can add, and therefore the lists that you can build, are all determined by the contact properties. So the more granular and the more sort of cleansed your database is, the more effectively you can use it. Hopefully you start to see everything come together now. What you've got, just like with the contacts overview page, you've also got a companies overview page, which looks very similar. Exactly the same point. You can select a group, you can assign, you can edit, you can create tasks for those particular companies, you can add filters as well, and obviously dependent upon the company properties that you have set up. Taking it a stage further, deals. Again, The structure of the deals board in this format looks very similar to the companies, looks very similar to the contacts. So it means that you can select, you can edit en masse, or assign or create tasks of particular deals. You can also have multiple deal pipelines. We'll come back to this in a second. Same principle then for tickets. So you can select and you could assign and give those to another team member, or you could edit particular properties, or you could create tasks. So hopefully now you can see how easy it is when you think of it in terms of the contacts, the companies, the deals and the tickets. Well, let me just jump back to deals though and show you something. There's two different views, and even though this is a good view for a particular purpose, which might be editing en masse, what's also great is being able to see it in this board style. And this board style, which you're pretty familiar with, can show you the amount of money which you're predicting at each of the stages, as well as moving towards the closed one. Jump into tickets, you can also change that view, and this is my favorite view on this as well. And it means that you can move the tickets the same as you can move the deals from stage to stage manually. You can also set up workflows and automations on the pro accounts that will move these things of deals and tickets based upon certain events happening. Under the Sales tab, you'll find tasks. Now, these are the tasks that are associated with a particular team member, but they could also, you can get a list of all of the users with tasks that are open, those that are due today, those that are due this week, those that are overdue. And you can add particular tasks if you want to queues that you can then follow up as a quick streamlined way of working with the tasks. You can also select all. You could delete tasks if you want. You can mark them as complete just by checking a box, or you can edit in bulk. Also under that Sales tab, you have got meetings. And what you can do is you can set up and make very much bespoke a meetings page, which allows people to pick a date that you've connected to your calendar, and that you then have them pick a time and then confirm the meeting very simply. Under that Sales tab, you'll go to quotes, and you can find a place where you can set up your quotes and quote from within the system as well. Let me now show you the email integration. What you can see is that I've got a Gmail, and when I start to type a person's name, what I'm able to do with HubSpot is click on the left-hand panel, and it will bring up that person's contact details and the information from HubSpot itself. This means that the two things, your email and your CRM, are essentially integrated. If I want, I can log emails into the system, and I can track, which I'll show you what that means in a second. But also, and this is something I'm going to cover more in the sales demo, I can add in a template. For instance, if it's a first outreach, I have some templates if people are considering HubSpot. So I can click on that one, and what happens is it will automatically fill the information I want to be there as a templated email, which saves me typing it all the time, make sure there's no typos, which is great. And it also allows me to insert things that people can click. Now, the reason that is so useful is when I come across to the extension on HubSpot, on Chrome, it allows me to see how many people, or who in particular, has opened and what links they've clicked within an email. Now, this is fantastic. So this is lead intelligence and so useful for a sales team, but it also allows me to see document views, because I can upload documents into HubSpot and I see how long they've viewed. And if a prospect has come in via the website, I can actually see when they revisit the site. So I get a notification they're on the site right now, and I can then follow up, which is an amazing tool to have as a salesperson. So another thing worth mentioning is how you can have a shared inbox. Under conversations, there's inbox, and this is an inbox that everybody could use in order to communicate with people. So it feels it's all in one place. When a conversation comes in, which could be by an email to that shared address, or it could be via a live chat or a bot, which we'll come to soon, you can see the person's name, you could create a ticket, you have their information on that right-hand panel that you can edit, and it will end up on their contact record. I mentioned about the bots and the live chat. That's under chat flows, which what you can do is you can set up to use a mix really of a bot to field certain things, and you can even point them to something which is like a knowledge base of information and answer their questions that way. Or you can guide them through a process on the bot and at a certain point hand it off to a real live person within the team. They get a notification and they pick it up, and then you'll find those conversations in that central inbox. Okay, so the next thing is just to tease you a little bit with what you can have on the pro accounts. Under automation, you have sequences and workflows. So looking at sequences, a sequence is a sequence of templated emails. This means that unless somebody replies, they get an automatic email that goes out after a period of time, and it could be interspersed with calls and tasks for other ways of following up, like text messaging or sending them a LinkedIn connection and things like this. But all of this happens automatically. So you set it in motion, and from a sales team point of view, it's a wonderful way of making your day a lot more efficient on the outreach. In terms of workflows, there's so much you could do both for service and for sales and for marketing in particular. And these are called workflows, and you have enrollment triggers, which are lists of people that you can enroll either automatically or you can do it from a list you've created as a one-off. And in a workflow, they can receive a series of events. You can change the life cycle stage, you can set tasks, you can move deal stages. There's so much you can do depending on your needs as a business. So that's workflows and sequences. Okay, final section for the CRM demo. Let's dive into dashboards and reports. Because with HubSpot everything's in one place, it makes it so much easier to report on. So we're looking now at dashboards, and what you have here is on the left hand side the contact lifecycle funnel, and we can see the people that are at different stages. For instance, there's some at leads, marketing qualified lead, through to opportunity, and then customers. You can also see the source of the contacts, which will tell us if they're organic or if they're coming from paid ads. You can see the form submissions in graph forms, so you can keep track of whether you're on track. And you can also see the forms if there are new customers coming in or for existing customers. And there's so much more you can do based upon the data that you've got and the activities that those people are making, both on your website and by emails in particular. And just for you to know, there are hundreds of reports you can add. If you want, you can add in sales reports about the activities of your sales reps, as well as we just had a quick look at the marketing reports, but you can also add in service reports as well, and find out the nature of the process of tickets moving from entering the business all the way through to being closed. So this is a great way of you being able to report effectively what activities are happening in the business. That was a demo of the HubSpot CRM. There are specific demos I've put together as well on the Marketing Hub, the Sales Hub, and the Service Hub. So please do check around this video, as I'm pretty well have made them available for you, or do reach out and I will send them over if that's of interest. And the contact details to get in touch with me are at the end of the video. Please let me know how I can help you from here.